It's unfortunately all part of a game development cycle. Features come and go as developers iterate on them, change their plans, or technology evolves, and Star Citizen is no different. Today's video is going to be about 5 features that have gone from the game and what could possibly bring them back. Hello and welcome to the channel, it's Irad, and today's What's Next for Star Citizen is going to be about gone features, 5 gone features that could perhaps one day make a comeback. We start right now with number 5, NPC traffic. Technically, NPC traffic has not disappeared, but it's nowhere near where it used to be in Star Citizen about 3.5 and 3.6, when there were actual ships navigating around landing zones. NPC traffic in Star Citizen is part of Cloud Imperium Games' ongoing efforts to make the universe feel alive and immersive. The game currently has limited NPC traffic, but CIG has been working on improving it through AI navigation, planetary landing systems, and background simulation. The current state of NPC traffic is quite simple. Right now, at landing zone and space stations, NPCs do not take off and land at major hubs like Area 18, Lorville, New Babbage, and Horizon, and unfortunately they do not contribute to the ambience, but this is something that they are going to be eventually doing one day. Ships, however, can be seen sometimes traveling around planets and Wooden Station, but they mainly serve as background filler. Some NPC pirates, security forces, and bounty targets use quantum travel to dynamically spawn in missions though. At rest stops, there is also no space traffic unfortunately, and there's also no NPC ground vehicle and traffic. This is something that could be happening in the future, but right now NPCs just don't know how to handle ground vehicles. So what about the future? Well, there should be persistent NPC traffic. Server meshing and persistent entity streaming will enable realistic and persistent NPC traffic across planets, stations, and cities. These are going to include cargo haulers, civilian ships, and security patrols moving independently of player actions. And all of that will be made possible thanks to the game's future dynamic economy, also known now as Star Sim. Speaking of Star Sim, well, with it, NPCs will therefore travel between locations based on actual supply and demand. This will affect trade routes, piracy encounters, and even lawful bounty hunting. In the future, NPCs are going to benefit from better AI navigation and will land once again. AI control ships will land, refuel, and take off dynamically at more locations rather than just the major hubs that we saw in 3.5 and 3.6. In fact, CIG a long time ago has already started testing this with AI navigation mesh improvements, and sometimes they do land at some of the derelict outposts when you do some missions with them. But we should have much larger scale NPC traffic, including, as I said, ground vehicles. In the future, we should expect NPCs to be able to drive ground vehicles on their own, whether it's in convoys or between various locations. And I think that if we have roads in the verse, it definitely would help a lot. This could tie into the dynamic missions, also planetary settlements, and expanded gameplay loops. Number 4, the Webstore ship customization. While technically not a game feature, the Webstore ship customization was quite an awesome experience to buy a ship in my opinion, and that is why it's making it in the list. In Star Citizen, ship customization is primarily available for the Origin Jumpbox 300 series through the ship customizer on the Robot Space Industries website. This feature allows players to personalize various aspects of their ship, including exterior paint, interior finishes, component, and even some gadgets like a coffee machine. This process, however, is only a one-time customization. Each 300 series ships can be customized once. To make further changes, players must reclaim the ship for store credits and repurchase it, ensuring it's available in the Play Store, of course. While the 300 series currently has exclusive access to this feature, there are plans to extend ship customization to other models in the future. Players are encouraged, of course, to monitor official communication for update, but yeah, it's been a very long time. It's possible the feature has been canned or shelved, but I think it would be great if it could come back. Number 3, the in-cockpit landing radar. The in-cockpit landing radar in Star Citizen was removed because of technical and design issues. It was originally a feature that displayed a holographic projection of the landing area inside the cockpit, helping pilots to gauge their position relative to the pad. However, it was removed sometime around Alpha 3.0 due to the following reasons. First, inconsistency and bugs. The radar was often unreliable with incorrect scaling and positioning. It didn't always align properly with landing pads, making it sometimes more confusing than helpful. There were also issues with technical limitations. As Star Citizen evolved, the old landing radar system didn't even scale well with new ships and landing locations. It also caused performance issues and rendering constraints, giving CIG no choice but to sadly remove it. But then, of course, the question is the following: will it come back? Well, it turns out CIG has been working on a complete HUD and UI rework. The new building blocks UI system aims to provide better landing guidance and radar functionality in a more consistent way across all ships. As of right now, however, it still has not come back. But has it been replaced? And the answer is yes, somewhat. There's a big caveat here: that's only for large ships. There's a docking UI for large ships, and the system provides guidance for precise docking with stations for ships like the 890 Jump or the Polaris. CIG has hinted that a refined version of the landing radar might come back in the future, especially as they improve the UI and HUD systems. But as of right now, the focus seems to be on refining exterior landing aids rather than cockpit-based solutions. Number 2, Cry-Astro repair and refueling facilities. Cry-Astro facilities. Those old refueling and repair stations were a cool concept, but ultimately disappeared. Let's break down here what happened to them and why they were removed. So first, Cry-Astro stations were supposed to be independent refueling and repair outposts scattered around the system, mainly near major travel routes. They offered fuel, repair, and rearming services for ships, and also there could have been a more immersive alternative to refueling at space stations. I think that also those facilities offered a glimpse of private businesses in the standard system. They really had a unique design and overall looked really cool. But why were they removed? Well, they became obsolete with the introduction of rest stops. Once rest stops were added, Cry-Astro stations became redundant. Rest stop stations provided the same services but were more detailed and better integrated into the game economy. Also, CIG has been shifting toward a player-driven economy, so with ships like the Starfarer handling refueling, CIG believed that those stations were unnecessary. With the quantum economy coming in the future, fuel depots might eventually be linked to supply and demands and mechanics. Could, therefore, Cry-Astro make a comeback? Well, there's a small chance that independent refueling outposts could return, but under a different design. For example, we could see some mobile refueling depots run by NPCs. There could be perhaps some abandoned or derelict Cry-Astro stations used for missions, or maybe we could see some small independent stations competing against the bigger rest stops. Number 1, voiced missions. Voice missions in Star Citizen were once a prominent feature, with several missions including the early Miles Eckhart and Ruto missions featuring fully voiced dialogues. Some of the other players may also remember Tessa Bannister or Elaine Ward. However, over time, the amount of voice acting in missions has decreased. First, there has been a shift toward procedural mission generation here. Star Citizen mission systems has moved toward procedure-generated contracts, which can be easily updated, expanded, and modified. Fully voiced missions require extra resources and limit how frequently missions can be changed. The persistent universe is also always in flux. The game world is always changing, with new locations, NPC behaviors, and mission types being regularly added. Cloud Imperium Games is likely holding off to large-scale voice mission acting until core systems like AI, reputation, and quantum NPCs are more stable or simply made available. Also, it's worth noting that the early voice missions were outdated. The few voice mission givers like Miles Eckhart, Ruto, Clover Stanley are still in the game, but their missions have barely changed in years. Some have even been temporarily removed or broken due to game updates. And the reason why we haven't seen much voice actors is because, of course, Squadron 42 has priority. CIG has been focusing heavily on Squadron 42, which has, of course, fully voiced cinematic campaigns with Hollywood actors. A lot of the voice acting resources have likely been dedicated to Squadron 42 instead of the PU. But will these missions make a comeback? CIG has not abandoned the idea of voice missions. Once systems like dynamic NPCs and quantum economy AI are developed, we might see more fully voiced mission givers who evolve based on the player's actions. The mission manager UI overall could also have paved the way for richer mission content. Of course, some voice dialogue still exist in the game, like for example ATCs, which are quite robotic but still sound quite energetic. And we also have a couple of other voices that we hear when we do bunker missions or some ship rescue missions as well. So there we have it, 5 features that Cloud Imperial Games have removed from Star Citizen that could one day make a comeback one way or another. If you enjoyed today's content, please make sure to leave a like, as it really helps the channel a lot. Don't forget to subscribe for more Star Citizen content, and why not considering our Patreon for early access to these videos, automatic entries to our monthly giveaways, and more. This month I am indeed giving away something. It's an Unveil Super Hornet Mark II. 10 entries are given to subscribers who comment to any videos posted this month. Automatic entries to Patreon members. Good luck to everyone out there. I would not be able to make all of that content without the people who help the channel, including Dr. Farbin, Shadow Rise, Ducky to Ducker, and Zero Crusher. I've been Irad. I'll see you guys in the next one.